Today, we are diving into a story, an ancient one, that asks a really modern question. What's a promise actually worth? And we're about to meet a king whose answer to that question, well, it might just blow you away.
So let's just start there. I mean, really think about it for a second. Is a promise just a bunch of words, or is it something more? We're about to see that very question get tested in, well, probably the most extreme way you can imagine. Okay, so our story is all about this guy, King Suto Soma. And if there's one thing you need to know about him, it's this. The man has never, ever told a lie. Not once. His entire life, his whole reign, it's all built on this single, solid foundation of absolute truth. And the whole thing kicks off with something super ordinary. Just a normal day. The king decides he's going to head to his park for a bit of downtime. But as he's passing through the city gate, a Brahmin comes up and asks him for some alms. And Sutasoma, being Sutasoma, makes a simple promise. He says, "Hey, I'm going to the park now. I will give you what you ask for when I get back." Seems easy enough, right?
Well, that simple, everyday promise is about to be put to the ultimate test. Because the king's relaxing day in the park, yeah, it's about to get real, and I mean violently interrupted.
And this is why. Out of nowhere, this fearsome, winged monarch known as the Deerfoot King just swoops down from the sky. The stories describe him like a giant golden bird of prey. And just like that, he snatches King Sutasoma and flies off with him. So the Deerfoot King takes Sutasoma back to his lair and puts him with his collection. And this is where you get the scale of this guy's terror. There are already 99 other captive kings there. Sutasoma is supposed to be victim number 100. Now, you can imagine the scene. He's faced with what is pretty much certain death, surrounded by 99 other doomed kings. And Sutasoma does what any of us would probably do. He starts to cry, just tears streaming down his face. The Deerfoot King sees this, of course, and he kind of scoffs at him, like, "Why are you crying like a baby? Everyone has to die." But see, Sutasoma isn't crying because he's about to die. Not at all. And this is the whole point of the story. He looks right at his captor and says, "I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid of breaking my word." He explains that he promised alms to that Brahmin, and if he dies here, he'll have failed him. He's weeping over the sin of deceiving that one man. The Deerfoot King is just so fascinated by this, he can't believe it. So he makes this incredible offer. He gives Sutasoma a 7-day pass. Go home, keep your promise, and then come back in a week. So that's what he does. Sutasoma goes back, gives the Brahmin what he promised, and then gets his affairs in order, making his son the new crown prince. But that clock is ticking. And here's where it gets really interesting. His people, totally logically, are begging him not to go back. They're shouting, "Save your life. We need you. We can build up our defenses. We can fight this guy." But the king's principle is just unshakable. He tells them, "My word is my law. I cannot break it. My body is not my own." And right before he leaves, he says this poem, which just perfectly captures his whole worldview. "Truth is the first precept. Truth is the ladder to heaven. I now uphold truth and would rather give up my life with no regrets in my heart." I mean, wow, that's his final word on the matter. And so he does it. He actually does it. He turns his back on his kingdom, on his family, on his own survival, and he walks right back to face certain death, all for the sake of that one simple promise. So what happens when he gets there? You'd think the Deerfoot King would be ready to finish the job, right? But his reaction is the biggest twist of all. He's not angry. He's not triumphant. He is filled with joy and respect. He calls Sutasoma a true man of integrity and just praises him for choosing his word over his own life. And then Sutasoma gives this incredible speech about the power of truth. And it's so moving, it actually purifies the Deerfoot King's heart. And look at the results. Sutasoma is freed, the Deerfoot King is completely transformed, and all 99 of the other kings, they're released and sent back home. One person's integrity literally changed everything. So what's the big lesson here? Well, this whole story is basically a perfect example of a concept known as the paramita of upholding precepts. It's this idea of achieving spiritual perfection by sticking to a moral vow so completely, so unwaveringly, that you would literally rather die than break it. And that's what makes this story so powerful. King Sutasoma is the ultimate illustration of that principle in action. He didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk, right up to the edge of death and back. And I think this is the key takeaway. It's the ripple effect. His commitment to truth didn't just save his own skin. It completely transformed a fearsome enemy and liberated 99 other rulers. Think about that impact.
Which brings us right back to where we started. Pseudosoma's world was pretty black and white. Ours is filled with gray areas, with compromise. So it leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on. In your own life, what promise, what principle is so important that it's worth everything to you?